Hey guys, and welcome to today's video. Today we're looking at a classic male Karen in court, someone who absolutely refuses to take responsibility for his own actions. We'll start with his original hearing, where he couldn't even be bothered to change a device name to his actual name. Because of that, the court thought he wasn't present and issued a default judgment against him. So with that said, let's jump right in.
All right, State of Michigan versus Michael Jones, 25X449222-4SI, and also 25X44922224A-SI. Mr. Jones, where were you earlier this morning?
I was right here, sir. I didn't have the my wife's iPad didn't have the proper name in there.
I called your case and nobody said anything.
That would be my fault, Your Honor. He is correct. He was here. It was just under the wrong name.
Yeah, I apologize about that. I'm kind of ignorant to the technical aspect of this, but yeah.
Well, the officer was here and told me that you failed to appear in the past and you weren't here this time, so I entered a default judgment against you and told the officer he was free to go.
Well, I beg to differ, sir, because here's the deal. There was no infraction. This guy, my side of the story is on February 9th, there was...
Mr. Jones, hang on a second.
Okay.
Whether you tell me anything right now is not going to make any difference because I'm going to have to reschedule this so when the officer's here, so I hear both of these things at the same time. So it's not going to, I appreciate you want to tell me what happened and I'll give you that opportunity.
I understand that.
I'm just saying it would have been nice if we'd have known that you were here. And I recognize that was a not your fault. I recognize that. So yep. We're going to make it right. So I'm just telling you that it would have been nice if we would have had this, everybody here at the same time.
Right.
So that's not your fault. Not your fault. So we're going to reschedule it so that you can be here. In the future, make sure that you know how the technology works so we don't have this problem in the future. All right.
I understand that, but can I say one thing, sir? It was supposed to be an informal hearing, and due to the storm and whatever happened on the 15th and prior to that, and the fact that I never did receive the initial first, when I went there and denied it and paid the fines to do the informal hearing, I never received that paperwork. Whether you guys mailed it and never got out. And the bottom line is, I've lived in this community for almost 30 plus years. And there was a new person at the post office for the last 2 years that wasn't, because I always received my mail since we moved in 18. But the other house, my oldest daughter still lives over there. So the P.O. box, and that was my fault. I had to do it, but it had it on there. It was my fault. With Cindy in there when she asked if everything on my driver's license was correct. And I said, yeah, but I just assumed that my 480 physical address would have been, forwarded to here from my previous address. But like I said, I went, and it was a whole cluster bomb there. Frustrating, but I did.
It is for all of us.
Right.
I would have preferred that we get this done today. I'm sure the court staff prefers that. The officer would have preferred that. So everybody would have preferred to have it done today so I could hear both sides. And so all I can do, sir, is say that we will reschedule this. We have a P.O. box for you in Vanderbilt. Is that where you want this sent to?
Yes, sir. That's where it's been for 40 years almost.
All right. That's where we'll send it to you at. And make sure you get on early so that you know that everything works.
I was on.
We'll hear.
I was on until I made some calls, and then I was able to get it done. But hey, I know everybody's time is a value, but dude, this is like 4 months into this. This guy has a, in my opinion, careless driving according to Michigan state laws.
Your Honor, can we just finish this now? We don't need Mr. Jones's commentary at this point.
I got you.
Mr. Jones, we'll reschedule the matter and I'll hear your case at the time that everybody's present for that hearing. All right. Thank you, sir. That's all for today.
Thank you.
Yep.
All right. So that wraps up his first hearing. Not ideal, but nothing out of the ordinary either. The court then brought him back a few weeks later for his formal hearing.
All right. The first matter up for The docket in district court is State of Michigan versus Michael Jones. There are two files for that. First is 25-X4492224-SI and then 25-X4492224A-SI set for a formal hearing. I do believe Trooper Kennedy is with us. Do we have Mr. Jones with us?
I've asked him to unmute and to start his video.
All right, I do see Michael Jones with us. You see Trooper Hubbard is with us as well as Trooper Kennedy. All right, this is a ticket back in February of this year involving careless driving and no proof of insurance. Looks like there was an original default in the matter. Mr. Jones requested that that be set aside and the court did so. I believe we had one other court hearing in which there was some technical issue with the court's Zoom. Mr. Jones was present, but the court couldn't see him, so the case was defaulted at that time. We've undone that as well, so we've had some procedural hiccups, but we are here today on a formal hearing. I would ask Mr. Jones, Trooper Hubbard, and Trooper Kennedy to raise their hands so I can swear you all in at the same time. You swear the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes.
All right.
I do.
I'm going to have the officers go first, and then Mr. Jones, you'll have an opportunity to ask questions or cross-examine them. And then Mr. Jones, if you wish to make any statements, you'll be allowed to do that, and the troopers will be able to ask any questions that they wish at will. Which of the officers wishes to go first?
Judge, because it's a formal hearing, did you want me to lead the questioning or did you just want them?
I'm sorry. I apologize, Ms. Brucker. Please go right ahead. I jumped into my prosecutor mode there and I should not have. I apologize. Okay. So please go ahead, Ms. Brucker. You determine how you want to present this case.
Okay. Judge, I would call Trooper Hubbard first.
All right. Thank you very much. Trooper Hubbard, you are sworn. Ms. Brucker, you may begin.
Trooper Hubbard, could you state your name for the record and spell your last name?
Yes, my name is Jacob Hubbard, last name of Hubbard.
Okay. Were you on duty on February 9th of 2025?
I was.
And did you travel down Old 27 South on that date while you were on duty?
I did.
Could you describe what the road conditions and weather conditions were on that date?
Absolutely. On 2/9/25 at approximately 10:55 in the morning, I was traveling southbound Old US 27 after responding to a rollover crash on the freeway on I-75. Road conditions, it was one of those snowy weekends. The roads were completely covered with snow. It was currently snowing at that time as well.
No,
I'm sorry, Mr. Jones, did you say something? You're on mute now, Mr. Jones. You're still on mute. Now you're on. Did you say something, Mr. Jones?
Yeah, I don't guess I meant to, but it wasn't snowing. It was snow-covered roads.
So according to him, it wasn't snowing, yet the roads were covered in snow. That little unprompted interjection is going to come back to haunt him, because he just confirmed the officer's claim that the roads were hazardous and required extra caution to drive safely.
But it was
all right, Mr. Jones, this is not how the court works. You don't get to interject whenever you want. This is their time to ask questions. If you have an objection,
I apologize.
If you have hang on, you need to listen to me first. If you have an objection, you may say, I object, and tell me what that is. But if you simply disagree with what he's saying, you're going to have a chance to ask him questions, and you're also going to have a chance to testify later. So you don't get to say, I don't like that. If you have a legal objection, you may state that. You may say, I object, and there's a legal reason why, and here it is. And then we'll move forward. All right, go ahead, Ms. Brucker.
Right. Just to let you finish that thought, Trooper Hubbard, were the roads covered in snow on that date?
Yes, they were. They were very snow covered, and it was snowing outside.
Okay. Had you responded to other incidents that date involving vehicles sliding off the road?
We did. In fact, there was about 3 patrol cars returning back to Gaylord after responding to a rollover crash on the freeway due to the weather and road conditions.
Okay. And what other patrol were you, the 3 of you traveling down Old 27 together?
Absolutely. So to set the scene, there was me. Directly in front of me was a maroon in color F-150, which belonged to Mr. Jones. Later found out. In front of him was Conservation Officer Cherry, driving his marked DNR patrol truck. And then behind me was Trooper Kennedy and Trooper Duff inside of their own state police patrol car.
Okay. And did something draw your attention to that maroon vehicle?
It did. So while southbound, we were past the auction building there right by Metelsky Road, and there's a passing lane there, which on a normal day wouldn't be an issue. But due to the weather conditions, I thought it was odd when that maroon F-150 started to pass the DNR truck on that passing stretch. When that vehicle started passing, it started kicking up snow, made it difficult to see both the F-150 and the DNR truck. I will admit, what looked like the pass was completed within the passing zone. And I know after speaking with Conservation Officer Cherry, it was completed within that zone. However, it was learned that Officer Cherry was going approximately 53 miles per hour, and the F-150 clearly passed him, signifying they had to go faster than 55 miles an hour to pass him on the weather conditions of that day.
Okay. And what is the speed limit on that stretch of road?
It's 55, ma'am.
Okay. And just to be clear, this is in Otsego County.
Yeah, I believe it's just into Livingston Township.
And after that vehicle passed, what did you do next?
At that point, I immediately, Conservation Officer Cherry pulled over and I activated my lights and I went in an effort to catch up to the vehicle. Due to that stretch of roadway, I don't know how familiar the court is. After the passing lanes end, it immediately goes into the S curves. The first one will bank to the southeast. Again, due to the road conditions and weather conditions, with my lights fully on, I was unable to catch up to the vehicle as I went through the S curves, passed down Irontown Springs, and finally was able to catch up to the vehicle once we both passed Parmenter Road, and I activated my siren to get the attention of the vehicle ahead of me.
And did you note what your speed was as you were attempting to catch up to that vehicle?
Yeah, so when you get through the first S curves and it comes to Irontown Spring, there is a straightaway. At that point, I tried to catch up, pushing it, I might add, to about 67 miles per hour, and I was still having a hard time catching the vehicle. I wasn't ever able to even get a good radar reading on the vehicle due to the weather and the constant curvature and the distance between me and the vehicle. It was hard to get the vehicle in my operational beam of my radar until the straightaway, and I had the F-150 at 56 miles per hour as it was entering the next curve just after Irontown Springs.
Okay. But based on your observations, you believe that it may have been going faster than 56 miles an hour at some point?
Yes. Due to how long it took me to catch up to the vehicle, I have no doubt that the vehicle was going faster than 56 miles per hour.
I object.
Okay.
What's your objection, Mr. Jones?
The whole thing is fabricated from what my opinion so far, Your Honor.
Well, tough luck. I don't like what the officer said isn't a legal objection. You'll get your chance to cross-examine and testify on your own behalf shortly.
All right, Mr. Jones, I don't need your opinion right now. I need to know what your legal objection is. So what's your legal objection?
My legal objection is the officer already had lied, and he already said he wasn't going to lie, right?
All right, Mr. Jones, credibility is Mr. Jones, credibility is for me to determine. I need to know what your legal objection is.
He told me that he called when he pulled me over. I said, "Are you serious?" And he was trying to provoke.
Mr. Jones,
bro,
this is not our time for argument. I need to know what is your legal basis for your objection.
He told me that he called the guy and he said he was doing 56. I said horse crap. I said he never made.
Mr. Jones,
I'm telling you the truth, bro.
Mr. Jones.
Yes, sir.
You're either going to do this my way or you're not going to do it at all.
Hey, I get it.
This goes in a proper procedure. You get to say you object, not because you don't like what he's saying, but because there's a legal reason for it. I've not heard a legal reason for it yet. Do you have a legal basis for your objection?
I just know facts are stubborn things.
That's not what we're talking about then. If you disagree with the fact, Mr. Jones, keep your mouth quiet for a minute so I can talk. If you disagree with what he's saying, you're going to have an opportunity to tell me that. Now is not that time. work with me here, sir, so we can get through this in a proper way. All right, Ms. Brucker, you may continue.
Okay. Trooper Hubbard, did you conduct a traffic stop of that particular vehicle?
I did. As I said, I was unable to get the attention of the vehicle ahead of me. It wasn't until we got close to Parmeter, I activated my siren to get the attention, and just past Parmeter, finally the F-150 pulled over and I performed a traffic stop there.
And did you make contact with the driver?
I did. So I made contact with Mr. Jones. It was very apparent right away that he was irritated and disagreed with the reason for the stop. He told me that the vehicle in front of him, he didn't realize it was a DNR truck, and that he believed the truck in front of him was going back and forth between 40 and 50 miles per hour. So he decided to pass him in the passing zone. He also had some issues said he was late and had some things break down. He was going to a shop to try to get a hydraulic hose fixed or something of that nature.
Okay. Did he provide you insurance and registration paperwork?
Slowly. Mr. Jones was extremely hostile during that time. I had to ask him for his paperwork, which he was continually asking me how long this was going to take, and until he finally gave me the paperwork. Then when I went back to the car to look at all this paperwork, he proceeded to get out of his car to confront us. By that time, Trooper Kennedy and Trooper Duff were on scene in an effort to confront us about the reason that he disagreed with the whole stop and how long it was taking. After he was ordered back into his car, or the truck, I would add, I then started looking at his paperwork. I realized he gave me an expired proof of insurance, which expired on December 8th of 2024. I went back up, asked him for a new proof of insurance, which he was unable to provide me. At that time, I went back to the patrol car and issued a citation for careless driving and no proof of insurance. If I may also add, I know Mr. Jones is going to have an issue with the way I parked my patrol car that day. And the reason why I park it on an angle pointing towards the ditch. It's an effort to protect my backside from traffic coming that way. And I always park a little bit into the lane in order to do that. So I want to get ahead of that argument as well, because I know while on scene, he had an issue with that as well.
Of course he did. It's a classic Karen move. When someone points out what you did wrong, instead of taking responsibility or even considering that you might be wrong, you run straight to the nearest authority figure and insist that they're the ones who are even more wrong than you are.
Trooper Hubbard, just to be clear, why did you issue him the citation for careless driving?
Due to the couple of reasons. So we've been responding to crashes that day with the weather, with the way the roads were. The way I had to drive to catch up to him was extremely unsafe and put everybody further at risk. Again, I'll admit that he passed within the passing zone and was able to complete it, but that was definitely operated in a careless manner that was at least negligent to everybody else on the public roadway, because it's not needed, especially because the conservation officer was going 53 miles an hour and he would need to pass him at a higher rate of speed. And then the fact that it took me so long to catch him, he either couldn't see me because of the weather or he didn't want to. So I don't know which one's better, but I don't know other rationale why he didn't stop for the roughly 2 miles I was behind him.
And you had your sirens in your patrol vehicle activated during that time?
I had just my lights on from the passing lane all the way to about Parmeter. It wasn't until then I've had to activate my sirens to finally get the attention.
Okay. Were there any visibility issues that day that prevented him from seeing those lights?
Yeah, I would say so, because when you're driving on those roads, it would kick up snow behind you. So I don't know if he wasn't able to see me because of that. I don't know.
Right. Is there anything else you'd like to inform the court of regarding the traffic stop?
No, there's not.
Okay. Judge, I don't have any other questions for Trooper Hubbard.
All right, Mr. Jones, do you have any questions for this witness?
I just hope he gets some new training on how to
Mr. Jones, do you have questions?
Yeah, I do have a question for him. If I
Please
was
go ahead and ask your question then.
If according to this gentleman's testimony, if I was so careless when I passed the CO officer, why didn't he pull me over?
Mr. Jones, do you have a question for this witness? Not a rhetorical argument.
Well, I tried to stick to the facts, sir, and look, there was an accident on 75. I get that. I looked at the guy and nodded at him. I could have taken him right out of Vanderbilt headed south.
Mr. Jones, this is not the time for your argument. Do you have a question for this witness?
No, I just would hope he would get some further training on.
Mr. Jones, I don't need your extemporaneous comments. I need to know if you have a question for the witness.
No question.
Next witness, Ms. Bruker.
Judge, I have three other officers here, Trooper Kennedy, Trooper Duff, and Conservation Officer Cherry. I wondered if it'd be okay with the court if I just collectively ask the three of them whether there's any additional information aside from what Trooper Hubbard already testified to that they could provide, and if not, we can move on. I just want to expedite this.
Please feel free.
Okay. So Trooper Kennedy, Trooper Duff, Conservation Officer Cherry, do any of you have any additional information regarding this traffic stop that Trooper Hubbard did not already cover in his testimony?
I do not, ma'am.
Okay.
I do not have anything to add further.
Okay. Okay.
No, ma'am. I just would agree with Trooper Hubbard with everything that he said strongly.
Okay. Judge, I don't think I need to question them further. I think it'll be repetitive as to what's already been placed on the record.
All right. The prosecution has finished presenting its case. The officer basically confirmed that no traffic laws were broken, other than noting the roads were snowy and icy, requiring extra caution when driving. Now, the defendant gets a chance to share his side, and that's where we are now.
All right. Mr. Jones, you now have the opportunity to make a factual statement, that is to testify, and then you would be subject to cross-examination after that. So, Mr. Jones, this is your opportunity to tell me what happened that day. Go ahead, sir.
Well, right from the beginning, how it all started. I was plowing. I was hosting my mother-in-law's 95th birthday party, and I had to make a few passes. I caught a log, blew a hose. I called my usual guys. They're not open. I started to panic because I had a big party for my mother-in-law. I got a hold of a guy. He said that he could make it if I had it. I already had it off. So I already had my truck started. I pulled up over 75. There's an accident on 75. As I roll across 75, two state troopers are coming up the exit ramp on the northbound lane. I literally looked at Trooper Hubbard and nodded at him as I saw him, right? As I pull out and go through town, the truck in front of me, I had no idea was a CO officer, right? He's doing about 30 miles an hour through town. It's 35. As you head southbound out of Vanderbilt on 27, it goes from the village limit 35 to 55. Now, right there, I could have just took him right there, but I didn't want to be aggressive. I've got two state troopers behind me. I know the law, sir. So I'm driving, and there's a coin flip. There's a vehicle. I thought the guy was going to get going. He maintained 42 to almost 50 miles an hour. He got to 50 almost twice. And each time there was a vehicle coming, or it was a coin flip of whether this would be too aggressive. Now, when the officer referred to the Gaylord Auto Auction and Metelsky Road, I knew that was a passing lane there. And so I'm not trying to ride them because you could clearly sneak, but the roads were snow covered. And I understand about people aren't comfortable driving. My whole career has been driving. Okay. So as soon as I could see the intersection of Metelsky and there was no vehicles, I turned my turn signal on, made the pass, and immediately I see the officer hit his lights and make the same pass. Now, I don't have any idea what he's doing. I'm doing 55 miles an hour now. Okay. So I'm going 55 miles an hour all the way through. Okay. Once I got southbound of Parmenter Road, I saw him, but I'm like, it's not my duty to know. If I'm an officer and I'm going to pull somebody over at 55, I'm going to pull them over. I don't agree with what he said about whatever, as far as driving conditions. It was not snowing. If it was snow, it's real light, but you could see for a long ways.
So, was it snowing or wasn't it? Whether you're found responsible hinges on you being certain about one thing or the other. Regardless, you admitted that other vehicles were driving slower than you. There was oncoming traffic you had to judge for passing, and the roads were hazardous, covered in snow and ice. Sorry, but slick, dangerous conditions don't care about your 50 years of driving experience.
And I wasn't going to try to make a stupid move with two cops behind me, Your Honor. So when I made the legal pass, and then I couldn't believe that he turned his lights on, I said, well, he's not coming after me. And then as soon as I passed Parmenter Road, and then he started to gain a little bit, that's when I turned my signal on and yielded over. To which he came up and said, I said, what's up? He goes, yeah, what's up? And I go, he said, you passed the CO off. In fact, when I passed the CO officer that I didn't know was the CO, I looked right at him and nodded at him as well when I made the pass, Your Honor. Now, I'm not trying to be aggressive or ignorant on the road, and I understand conditions. So when he said, you passed the CO officer, I said, so what? Is there a law against that? Right? I didn't ask him that. I said, so what? And as soon as I said that, he said, well, you passed on a curb. And I said, horse crap. And then he looks up and down and starts going, well, it's okay to be mad. I don't care if you're mad. It's okay. He was trying to provoke something, Your Honor. And I just stayed there going, and I'm saying, dude, it's my mother-in-law's thing. I've got stuff to do. Are you serious? You're messing with me what did I do? I didn't do anything wrong. Now, as far as the insurance goes, my birthday was a week before that. So I usually have the cartoon copy, which my wife sent me that copy right there. And I know about the Law Enforcement Information Network. You can clearly see whether it's in current or outstanding just by looking at the tabs. I upset him when I said, so what? And he knew I was upset, and it got provoked. And as far as me getting out of my vehicle, I was sitting there like 10 or 15 minutes. And that's when I was like, because as far as the cops behind them, they pulled right up behind them, the cop and the CO. There was only 2 officers and the CO that I saw. But after 10, 15 minutes, and I thought, well, I don't know if these guys were playing a game of is this guy going to pull over or not? I don't know what these guys are doing. But then the way he went about that, as far as, I don't care if you're mad. It's okay to be mad. It's okay to be mad. I don't care if you're mad. He said that a dozen, 20 times, baby. I don't know. I don't remember exactly, but I know I went through this over and over. Like, what the heck did I do? Is it this? I didn't do anything wrong. In fact, lack of attention or caution likely to endanger person or property is how the careless law is stated, which there was no harm. There was no foul. I made a legal pass. He didn't like my answers, so he was going to teach me a lesson. And when I got out of the truck to go, come on, the CO, I don't know what he did, but he pulled something on his side, demanded me to get back in the truck. So then I was like, to which I stated, you clowns watch too much TV. And then I got in the truck. So maybe that hurt his feelings too. So I guess freedom of speech isn't in the Constitution, according to Trooper Hubbard, Your Honor.
So, was it snowing or wasn't it? Whether you're found responsible hinges on you being certain about one thing or the other. Regardless, you admitted that other vehicles were driving slower than you. There was oncoming traffic you had to judge for passing, and the roads were hazardous, covered in snow and ice. Sorry, but slick, dangerous conditions don't care about your 50 years of driving experience.
Because he clearly had he didn't like my attitude, which was, I didn't do anything wrong, bro. I didn't do anything wrong. So he knew I had the insurance. He cited me a ticket for that, to which when I denied responsibility and initially requested the informal hearing, evidently that was mailed from you guys, I never received it. I wouldn't, Your Honor, I wouldn't request an informal hearing and then not show up for it. That's not, God didn't make me that way. So whatever happened there, it was totally, so then I had to go and refile, to which the lady.
Mr. Jones, we're not here on the procedural issues. I already put that on the record to begin with, and that's not being held against you. So I don't need you to argue about the procedural issues. I just need to know about the facts of the case, sir.
Well, that was pretty much it. And to which I like to understand if it was such a careless act on my legal pass that I made. When he called it, when I said, are you serious? He said he called the CO, and the CO said he was doing 56, to which I said horse crap again. I said, you guys were behind me. We never made it to 50 mile an hour till I passed him in a legal passing zone. So in my opinion, it was fabricated. He didn't like my answers, and he was teaching me a lesson.
Anything else that you want to say, Mr. Jones?
No, sir. That about sums it up.
All right. Ms. Brooker, any questions for this witness?
No, Judge.
All right, Mr. Jones, do you have any other evidence that you wish to present?
My evidence is my word, Your Honor. I was not exceeding this. If I did exceed the limit, it was one over maybe, because that's what he said. He said he was doing 56. I said I might have made it to 56 by passive. I said no way. I said he never went to 50. He never made it to 50 miles an hour, and they were behind me. So, and I do have insurance, so I don't know why that. I think it was just one of them deals.
All right, Mr. Jones, I do have a question for you. I didn't understand what you were trying to tell me when you talked about the no insurance. You said that you had insurance, that your birthday was a week before. The question is whether you presented the officer with proper proof of your insurance. Did you do that?
I gave him the copy that I had, and to which I noticed it was expired the prior week, to which I usually have the hard cartoon copy in the truck. And my wife texted it to me. I have it on my phone. Did you show your phone to the police officer? Oh, when he came up and said he was citing me for no insurance and careless driving, I pretty much was like, I couldn't believe what was going on. It was like modern day extortion, in my opinion. Just us, not justice. That's my opinion.
So the answer, Mr. Jones, is that you did not show the officer that you had proof of insurance that day. Is that what you're telling me?
Well, yes, that's what I'm telling you. But I had it on my phone, to which there was no chance to. When I texted my wife and asked her, and she said, "Oh, I thought it was in there." She took a picture of it, texted it to me, and then at that point, he'd already issued me 2 citations, and I mean, you know what? When he handed me that tickets and started trying to explain it to me, maybe he could have pulled me over then, because I did take off out of there like, what is this? What's going on? And he held me up for like, I don't know, 30 minutes at least. 25, 30 minutes, I'm going to say. Anyways, that's no big deal.
I love how he claims, I'm a safe driver and never do anything wrong. Yet right after says, if the officer wanted to pull me over, it should have happened when I was driving like a jerk. Anyway, his testimony is done, and now it's time for closing arguments.
All right. Ms. Brooker, any closing arguments?
We would just ask the court to find Mr. Jones responsible for both of these citations based upon Trooper Hubbard's testimony that at the time he passed Conservation Officer Cherry was going around 53 miles an hour, and Trooper Hubbard had to get up to around 67 miles an hour in order to catch Mr. Jones in order to perform the traffic stop, also taking into account the road conditions and even Mr. Jones' own testimony that he saw Trooper Hubbard operate his lights of his vehicle almost immediately after he passed Conservation Officer Cherry, but it took him still a ways to stop his vehicle. So I believe there's ample evidence for the court to find him responsible in both of these. Obviously, he just made some admissions regarding the no proof of insurance, so I don't think I need to do any additional argument on that.
All right, Mr. Jones, this is your opportunity to argue to me now why you believe that you're not responsible for either of these tickets.
Well, Your Honor, my insurance was current. The officer has a system. I mean, it's an imperfect world. I'm not trying to explain anything to you. And as far as careless, Your Honor, I made a legal pass in a legal passing zone. I understand some people, they're not comfortable driving. I drove my whole career. I drove weather, snowing, blizzard, hot. I understand. I went through things. I know how to drive. My record is immaculate. So as far as this guy's opinion, I disagree with their opinion. I mean, and he's not showing you facts, Your Honor. He's telling you his story. He's not showing you facts. He's telling you his story. That's the truth. Because I like I said, the truck in front of me never made it to 50 miles an hour. And when he said he called him, he said he was doing 56. To which I said horse crap again, right to him. I know he didn't like my attitude, Your Honor, but I didn't do anything wrong. This guy didn't get any action. I didn't know if they had a bet going. Honestly, this guy hit the accelerator 42 to 50. 42 to 50. What are you trying to? I don't know what was going on. Finally, when it was open, clear, and not aggressive, I made a legal pass. Then he turns his lights on. Why didn't he come after me? He's trying to figure out what's going on. Is it protocol for him to call the CO and for him to say, oh, I was doing 56. Now he's saying he's did 53 because he told me 56 that day, to which I said, no way. Actually, I said horse crap again. Because I said, dude, he never made it to 50. You guys were behind. Why would I purposely do something? And there was no harm, no foul. There was nobody on the road when I made the pass. This guy, they didn't get any action on the 75 southbound that was backed up north of Vanderbilt. I don't know, sir. That's my opinion, and it seemed to me like it was time to railroad this guy because they didn't get any action over there. I hate to put it that way, but pretty much how it went down.
Do you honestly believe the officers singled you out just because the other side of the highway was blocked by an accident? Or could it be that they were more alert to dangerous and reckless driving since they had just come from that accident scene? I suppose that's a call the judge will have to make, and is about to do just that.
Anything else, Mr. Jones?
Oh, sir.
All right. The two matters in front of me involve careless driving, which is by statute, driving in a careless or negligent manner likely to endanger any person or property, but without wantonness or recklessness. And then no proof of insurance. It's not the more serious charge of not having insurance. It is failing to provide proof of insurance. By the defendant's own admissions, he did not present proper proof of insurance to the police officer upon request. Mr. Jones testifies that he had proof of insurance on his phone, but that he did not present that to the officer. And for that reason, I'm going to find him responsible for the no proof of insurance. That's $160 that will be owed to the court as a result of that. On the careless driving ticket, the issue is before the court is not whether there was a proper pass. The issue before the court is not whether there was speeding, although those two things can contribute to careless or negligent driving. And the fact that there wasn't speeding or that there was a proper pass does not stop the court from finding that there was careless or negligent driving. It is based on all of the facts and circumstances at that time. If the road conditions don't support a legal passing speed, then the road conditions dictate whether or not it is careless or negligent to drive at a speed, even if it's within the legal speed for the roadway. If we're having a blizzard, and again, I'm not saying that's what happened here, but if we're having a blizzard, speed has to be reduced because of the visibility and the slipperiness of the roadway. That is the basic speed law. You may only drive at which the conditions support the driving. In the testimony, not only of the trooper that testified mainly, but of the other three officers who joined in their opinions, in all of their opinions, it was their opinion that it was too fast for conditions. In other words, it was careless to pass under the circumstances on the roadway. Mr. Jones disagrees with that opinion, and it would be so much easier for this court to find on behalf of Mr. Jones if his attitude were not so ridiculously poor. Mr. Jones assumes the worst in all of the other officers. His opinion is that they did certain things, and he attributes poor police behavior based on his own not wanting to be found responsible for a ticket. Mr. Jones, if you want to be taken seriously, you must act in a serious manner. None of the officers in this case have given me any reason to disbelieve their testimony. I agree with you that under normal circumstances, what you did was not illegal. There is no problem with passing in a passing zone. There is no problem with going, even if you slightly went over the speed limit to get past a driver who was doing 53 miles an hour. I would not normally hold you responsible for that. Okay. But under the circumstances of that day and that time, where the officers had just gotten off of I-75 for an accident, okay, and they were well aware of the slippery road conditions and the snow on the road and the snow coming down on the road, and then you pass directly in front of them, they had no other alternative but to stop you. And quite frankly, your attitude just made it that much easier to give you a ticket. And it makes it that much harder for me to believe you. You have the right to say in America whatever you want to say.
Right.
But that does not mean that the police or the court need to believe you when you say those things. And so you have given me every reason to discredit your testimony because of your attitude. Okay, so I'm not saying that you don't have the right to say the things that you want to say. You absolutely do. But I also have the right to not believe you because of the things that you say and the way that you present yourself. So I believe that the police officer's testimony gives me the ability to find you responsible for careless driving, and that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah,
I've already paid. No, you're done. This is not your time to talk, Mr. Jones. This is my time.
I got it.
Your time is done.
Yeah,
the court finds that you owe the court $210. You may make that payment at the court.
Already
Do you
paid.
have any questions about that? All right, then that will be forfeited, and we're done with this case. Thank you very much. That's all for today.
Person, gotcha.
All right, everyone, that's a wrap for this video. He lost, which honestly wasn't surprising. This just proves that when a traffic stop involves any kind of subjectivity, as it did here, being a total jerk never helps your case. If you enjoyed the video, go ahead and hit the like button. If not, feel free to hit dislike. Either way, don't forget to leave a comment below and subscribe with notifications turned on so you never miss my content.